You're sitting on the couch, scrolling through your phone or watching television. Then you notice something unusual. Your dog is staring at you, not barking, not wagging its tail, not asking to go outside, just watching you in complete silence. At first, it seems ordinary. After all, dogs look at their owners all the time. But after a few moments, you start wondering why. If your dog wants something, why doesn't it make a sound? If it's excited, why isn't it moving? If nothing is happening, why does it seem so focused on you? Many owners experience this almost every day, yet few stop to think about what it actually means. The truth is that a dog's silent stare can reveal much more than most people realize. It can reflect trust, affection, curiosity, emotional awareness, a search for comfort, or even subtle changes in how your dog is feeling. What makes this behavior so fascinating is that the meaning changes depending on the moment. The same stare can mean something completely different from one situation to the next. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden reasons why dogs stare at their owners in silence. Some of these explanations are surprisingly emotional. Others reveal just how closely dogs pay attention to the people they love. And by the end of this video, you may never look at your dog's silent gaze the same way again. One of the most common reasons dogs stare at their owners is surprisingly simple. They feel connected to them. Dogs have spent thousands of years living alongside humans. Over time, they developed an extraordinary ability to form strong social bonds with people. Think about someone important in your life. Even when nothing interesting is happening, you naturally notice where they are and what they are doing. Dogs often behave in a similar way. For many dogs, watching their owner becomes a habit rooted in familiarity and trust. Your presence represents safety. It represents routine. It represents everything that feels normal in your dog's world. This is why many dogs will quietly observe their owners even when they are resting, reading, working, or simply sitting across the room. In those moments, they are not necessarily expecting food or attention. They are simply maintaining a connection. To humans, staring may seem passive. To dogs, it can be a way of staying engaged with someone who matters deeply to them. Some dogs do this more often than others. Personality, breed tendencies, and life experiences all play a role. But the underlying message is often the same. Your dog enjoys knowing where you are. And sometimes that silent observation is one of the simplest ways it expresses that bond. But affection is only one piece of the puzzle. Sometimes your dog is looking at you because it is trying to understand you. Dogs are incredibly observant. Every day they study the people around them, especially the people they trust most. Your dog notices changes in your voice, posture, facial expressions, and routines. Over time, it learns to associate these signals with different emotional states. This is why many owners feel that their dogs know when they are sad, stressed, frustrated, or anxious. Dogs are not reading minds. They are reading behavior. A slight change in your mood may be obvious to a dog that spends every day observing you. Maybe you move more slowly than usual. Maybe your voice sounds different. Maybe your body language changes in subtle ways that even you don't notice. Your dog notices. That silent stare may actually be your dog gathering information and trying to understand how you feel. To your dog, you are one of the most important parts of its environment. Understanding your emotional state helps it understand what is happening around it. This ability is one of the reasons dogs have become such successful companions to humans. They pay attention, far more attention than most people realize, and sometimes what they discover causes them to watch you even more closely. Not because they need something, but because they sense that something about you feels different. Yet emotional observation is not the only reason dogs stare. Sometimes they are looking for reassurance. Imagine a child entering an unfamiliar place. Even when surrounded by interesting sights and sounds, That child will often look toward a parent for comfort and security. Dogs frequently do the same thing. When something feels uncertain, they often look toward the person they trust most. This can happen during storms, fireworks, loud noises, changes in routine, visits from strangers, or any situation that feels unfamiliar. By watching you, your dog is trying to determine whether everything is safe. If you appear calm, your dog often feels calmer too. Many dogs use their owners as emotional reference points. They look to them for clues about how they should react. What makes this behavior fascinating is that some dogs don't bark, whine, or hide when they feel uncertain. Instead, they simply watch. Their eyes remain fixed on the person they trust most while they assess the situation around them. Older dogs may do this even more frequently. As they age, familiar people become an even more important source of comfort and stability. In these moments, your dog may not be asking for attention. It may simply be looking for reassurance. But there is another explanation that has very little to do with emotions. And once you understand it, many of your dog's behaviors will suddenly make much more sense. Dogs are experts at recognizing patterns. In fact, they spend much of their lives learning routines and predicting what will happen next. They pay attention to details that most people never notice. The way you stand up from the couch, the shoes you put on, the sound of keys being picked up, the direction you walk through the house. Over time, dogs learn that certain actions predict future events. A walk, a meal, a trip in the car, time outside. Your dog may stare at you because it is trying to figure out what is about to happen next. It is not reacting to the event itself. It is reacting to the clues that come before it. This ability helps explain why dogs often seem to predict things before they happen. In reality, they are simply observing patterns that humans overlook. A silent stare may be your dog collecting information, comparing it to past experiences, and trying to anticipate what comes next. For a species that relies heavily on routine, this skill is incredibly valuable. However, there are situations where a dog's stare deserves a little more attention. Most of the time, staring is completely normal, but sudden changes in behavior should never be ignored. If a dog that rarely stared suddenly begins watching you constantly, it may be worth observing whether other changes are happening as well. Dogs communicate through behavior. Discomfort, stress, aging, reduced confidence, or changes in health can sometimes affect how much attention they give to their owners. This does not mean something is seriously wrong. It simply means that behavior should always be considered in context. Pay attention to patterns. Has your dog's energy changed? Is it sleeping differently? Does it seem less interested in activities it once enjoyed? A silent stare alone rarely tells the whole story. But when combined with other changes, it can provide useful information about how your dog is feeling. Awareness is important. Panic is not. And that brings us to perhaps the most touching explanation of all. Sometimes the answer is simpler than we expect. Your dog may stare at you because it enjoys being near you, not because it wants something, not because it feels worried, simply because your presence matters to it. Humans often fill quiet moments with activity. Dogs are different. Many are perfectly happy sitting nearby, watching the people they love. You may notice your dog calmly observing you from across the room with no sign of urgency or expectation. In that moment, it may not be communicating a need. It may simply be enjoying a feeling of connection. For dogs, companionship is often expressed through presence rather than action. A peaceful evening together, a quiet afternoon at home, a familiar routine shared day after day. These moments matter more to dogs than many people realize. While humans use words, dogs frequently use attention. That silent stare may be one of the simplest expressions of affection they have. The next time your dog stares at you in silence, take a moment before looking away. Ask yourself what might be happening in that moment. Is your dog checking in with someone it trusts? Reading your emotions? Looking for reassurance? Trying to predict what comes next? Or simply enjoying your company? The answer may be different each time. What matters is understanding that these quiet moments are rarely meaningless. Dogs communicate constantly, even without making a sound. The more we learn to recognize their silent messages, the deeper our connection with them becomes. Because some of the most important conversations between a dog and its owner happen without a single word. They happen through trust, through attention, through presence. And sometimes all it takes to understand them is learning how to truly look back.